Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 73 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk about table saw acres. So if you want to see what that's all about, all you've got to do is stay tuned. Well, it's not quite an acre of table saws, but it's a nice 50 square foot rectangle. My measurements here are pretty much square. It's almost 7 feet by almost 7 feet. So yeah, we're getting close to that 50 square foot range. And I thought this was the most efficient way to set up my table saws in the limited space that I have. Because two table saws were always in the plan for this shop. So basically, the star of my table saw corral is this, I think it's about a 1995 model. It's a 5-horse Delta Unisaw with a Unifence, which is my favorite fence of all time. And I like this saw. It has good power. It's accurate. It cuts nice. I have a good guard on it that I've been tinkering with, painting and shortening and all kinds of stuff. That might be another video somewhere down the road, but not what the focus is today. So that's this whole first 7 feet here is my Unisaw. In between the two, like the nice thing about having table saws back to back is that the outfeed for one saw is the other saw, which works out really good as far as saving space and allowing you to have accurate cuts because you don't have pieces dropping off and you don't have to set up silly little roller stands to when you're ripping material. So this has worked out really well. This is not a perfectly flat surface. That's maybe one problem with it. This is just laminated pine, basically like that tabletop that I made for my workspace. It's scraps from all over the place. So I happen to have a bunch of 2x6 pine that I ripped into small pieces and laminated a 2-foot wide strip. And this is about 1.25 inches thick. So there's plenty of depth that I could route the extensions for the slots, and that's all worked out well. I covered it with epoxy, which makes a nice smooth surface, and I'm surprised at how tough that epoxy actually is. This table has taken a bit of a beating, and my other work surface has definitely taken a beating, and it has worked out really well. So moving right along here, you've seen this part of my setup already. This is my little router table. This is custom built. We used to have a machinist in town here, unfortunately passed away a number of years ago, that milled these for me with his milling machine. This is 5/8 plate. It's nice and flat, and he milled all the stuff that I needed as far as slots and holes and things like that. So this has worked out really well, and actually this was a prototype. We built another one very similar to this for the school shop. So we practiced on this one, and then he built a really nice one. Oh, this one's really nice too. But he built another really nice one for the school shop. So anyway, we'll just keep moving around here. This is the first table saw I ever owned. It's a Rockwell Delta. It's a 10-inch contractor saw, the old style contractor saw. And right away I put a 1.5 horse motor on it. But I cheaped out at the time because I had just started my business and I didn't have two dimes to rub together. And I just went with a regular 1.5 horse electric motor. This last year, I upgraded that motor to a 1.5 horse TEFC. So it's totally enclosed fan cooled, which table saw should have. So, and I put a new belt on, new pulleys, so this is working really good. This saw has a little bit of sentimental value for me because it was the first saw that I ever bought. So that runs the dado head. So the 5-horse Unisaw does all my straight cutting, cross cuts, rip and cross cuts, and the dado gets handled by this saw here. Now, a 1.5-horse motor maybe is a little light for a 1/2 horse, or for an 8-inch dado blade, but I don't cut really, really large dados, so it's worked really well. I think I need to spend a little bit more on my next dado blade. Sometimes I play with cheap things just to see if they work. So anyway, you're probably wondering what this whole contraption is here. Well, this is something that's coming. So you'll probably see this table saw acre in some upcoming videos because there's a few things I need to do to it. First of all, well, not first of all, but one of the projects I have to do is I want to incorporate this overarm guard to work on the dado head. So now I don't have a SawStop table saw, and I don't think there's one in the cards for many, many years, if ever. So if I all of a sudden end up teaching a class in here, I need to make sure that my blades are properly guarded. So I am going to adapt this to work on this saw. Now, you're probably thinking, well, he doesn't even have that thing going the right way. This should all be on this side here. But you know, I'm not going to clutter up this side. I'm thinking, and I still have some problems to work out here, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to maybe move this out a few more inches. I might need a bit more space in here. And once I have this all figured out, I'm going to chop this thing off, put the end on here, and hook this up to dust collection. I think it's going to work. And like I say, I've had this thing for many years because I used to have this table saw at the school. And all of a sudden I realized, hey, I'm running a dado head with no guards. And so I went and I found this on Kijiji. I found everything on Kijiji. But anyway, I'm hoping this is going to work. They've upgraded this arm considerably over the years, but this is an early, I don't know if it's a first generation, but it's an early model of the Excalibur. So anyway, one thing I forgot to tell you about. My horizontally mounted router. This thing is awesome. For doing raised panels and things like that, it's so, so nice. And one of the reasons basically I haven't told you this yet, but I am going to have 3 routers in this acre as well. Now, there's going to be a traditional router table. You've seen that one already. That one over there we're going to talk about yet. But this one I've had up and running for years, and I wish I could claim that I thought of this horizontal jig on my own. It came from, I think, a copy of American Woodworker when they still had a magazine. But this thing is awesome. So to do raised panels in here, we use the horizontal bit, which takes a lot less power to run, and in my opinion is a lot safer. So the goal when I taught in the school shop was to be able to make a raised panel door without having to change bits. So, and with 3 routers, that worked out really, really well. And I want the same thing in my shop. It may not be that we use all 3 routers all the time, but I have a plan of maybe doing a bunch of tongue and groove stuff. So there we go. We could easily do it that way. So anyway, that is a really, really nice way to hold your router. And I'm just going to sneak across here. And now you're probably wondering, what in the world is going on? Well, I have a Unifence that I shouldn't have bought because it's junk. The rail is cut, the fence is terrible, but I told the guy over the phone that I'd take it, and when I got there, I realized what a mess it was, but I took it anyway because I felt bad about, he maybe could have sold it to somebody else. So I took it, but I didn't. I was supposed to go on that other saw, and I ended up putting a General International fence on here. I forgot to mention that when I was back there. So that has a full-length fence, but it's a General International. It works good. It's a nice fence, standard Biesmeyer copy. So anyway, I have a chopped rail and a terrible fence. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to mount this on this end of the table saw, and that's going to mean that my router here is going to, the direction of flow is going to be this way, because that router there is going to get mounted in here, and that'll be a video. We're going to do that. So I'm not going to talk too much about the plate and the router too much today, other than, well, maybe you can't even see it from there because the cord is in the way. That's your trusty Princess Auto Power Fist router. And in the, would have been in the early 2000s, they sold those routers for, I think it was about $80 each. And it's actually a pretty good router, especially for that price. So I had bought 2 of them already for other things I was doing at school. We used them to make things for, we did quite a few projects that we donated to various charities in Saskatoon. And I bought 2 routers so that we could supplement the school's routers and get more done. But this one I just bought, so maybe a little over a year ago, but it was pretty much new in its box yet. But that's going to go in this plate here. So the reason this fence is running this way is that there's going to be a dust collection drop coming down right here. That's going to service the table saws and the routers. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to run dust collection to them yet. I was looking at SawStop has a box that they put around their table mounted routers, and I looked at that and I thought that could easily be made out of sheet metal even with the tools I have. So maybe that's something that I'm going to make in the future, and then we'll pick up dust from the routers as well. But for now, I think it'll just be the 2 table saws. But with dust collection here, it's difficult to run anything this way. And this isn't the first time I've done this. We ran into the same problem at the school shop, and there was no way I could get them to move the dust collection because there really wasn't another place for it. But it just didn't work out. And that one was right about here with that table saw. And so I ran the fence this way. I had a Unifence and a Unifence system. And I actually made two of them. I cut it in half and away we went. So, and it works really quite good. Now I don't want to block the camera, but basically you're pushing this way. Now the downsides of this is you have this fence that's basically in the way if you want to rip wider pieces. So I think this fence is probably going to get shortened by about 1 foot. And I think maybe I'll see if I can get my aluminum wire in my welder and fix that, because it looks pretty terrible. I guess I could just put a piece of wood over it too, but which I'll have to do anyway. So yeah, the fence is good. But anyway, so that's what this is here, kind of looking fairly odd. But trust me, it works. It's not quite as nice as that. Now, the one downside about having your routers in where your table saws are is I have to, if I want to make a cut, I have to make sure that that bit is below the surface. And this thing, if we're going to make a wide cut, we're going to have to make sure it's below the surface. We're going to have to make sure this is out of the way and the fence is out of the way. So it's a little bit more, I wouldn't say setup, but you've got to do a few things before you get to make certain types of cuts. So is it the best way to do it? Well, I think for me, it's probably the only way. This works, and I'm not a production woodworker, so I don't need to be, maximizing every minute. So besides, I'm supposed to be retired. So, but anyway, just a few things here that I'm going to show you about this router build yet. To get power to the routers, I'm going to make basically a box like this that's going to mount on the side somewhere convenient. The router is going to plug into here, and this switch is going to get, I don't know if I can show you that properly. Anyway, this switch is going to get cut in, and then to turn the router on, all I do is that. And it's a fairly nice switch. These are from BusyBee, and I have a bunch of them because, oh no, these don't fit the general lathes. But anyway, that's not a big problem. And then the cord, I have I don't know, I've had this stuff for quite a while. I tend to buy things when I think of them, and then it sometimes takes quite a while before I get to use them. These cords are from Home Depot. They're a decent 9-foot cord. What gauge are they, or what? Anyway, I'm not sure. 14 gauge cord. So it's decent for a router like that. And I'll plug them all into a common box somewhere, because we will have power running down here as well. 220 and 110 will come down here, and I've already talked to my neighbor, the electrician, about doing that. So yeah, the next few videos, or not maybe the next few, but in the future, there will be videos on my channel putting the base plate on the router and putting the base plate and router in the hole that I'll cut for it. And then we'll mount this fence on properly and make that all work. And then we'll probably have another video where I show you how I got this thing to work out. So we've got a little bit of table saw content coming up here, or table saw organization content. And that's hopefully something that you're going to enjoy. So I think we're kind of at the end of what I wanted to show you today. Remember to like and share and subscribe. Things have been going a little faster than they usually have been for me, so hopefully this video doesn't slow things down too much. Also, I need to thank Sheila today for sitting behind the camera and making minor adjustments so I don't have to always reset everything. I think the first person I would hire if I ever made money doing this is a camera person, because that is a huge thing. But anyway, yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you towards the weekend again in the next video. Take care.